Despite all of the attempts from the nuclear non-proliferation community, Pakistan will continue to develop and strengthen its nuclear deterrent as long as the high brass in the Pakistani military continues to have an India-centric mindset in its defense policy. India and Pakistan have fought 3 wars since Islamabad's independence in 1947, and in each case, the Pakistanis were either the losers or forced into a stalemate before acceding to a ceasefire. The 1971 breakaway of eastern Pakistan, which would later be named Bangladesh, was an especially embarrassing defeat for the Pakistanis. Islamabad hasn't forgotten these cases ever since, and for the Pakistanis, the lessons of these past conflicts are all the same: we cannot repeat history. Could Pakistan be more of a nuclear security threat to Israel than Iran? Conventional wisdom suggests that a nuclear-armed Iran is the most pressing potential nuclear threat to Israel. It's a country run by a Shia theocracy espousing invective for Israel on a daily basis. Indeed, Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei ranted about the possibility of Israel's forthcoming destruction as recently as this week. However, Azriel Bermant, a research associate at the Tel Aviv-based Institute for National Security Studies, offered a different take earlier this year in a column he wrote for the Israeli newspaper Haaretz. The real threat might come from Pakistan. This first appeared in 2015. Bermant postulated that despite the worries of both Israeli and American policymakers alike, Iran may not be the nuclear threat that Israel should focus on. After all, Iran doesn't have a single nuclear weapon at its disposal. Further, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action signed in July will forestall the Iranians from the nuclear threshold for the next 15 to 25 years. Rather, Bermant argues, one could argue that Islamabad poses more of a threat to Israel than Tehran does. It's worth considering because the Pakistani government possesses a fairly large nuclear arsenal. Over the years, President Barack Obama has expressed reservations about the continuing growth and stability of Pakistan's nuclear weapons program. Only 3 months into his first term in April 2009, President Obama voiced his concerns. "We have huge national security interests in making sure that Pakistan is stable and that you don't end up having a nuclear-armed militant state. Here is why the United States likely continues to have those worries." Nearly 7 years later, 1. Pakistan's growing arsenal. There are thousands of nuclear weapons in the world today. According to the latest count from the Federation of American Scientists, the 5 original nuclear powers have a combined 15,465 nuclear weapons between them, most of which are divided amongst the United States and Russia, yet the fastest-growing nuclear arsenal in the world is not included in this number. While Pakistan has a range of 100 to 120 nuclear weapons in its possession, a figure that pales in comparison to the United States or Russia, Islamabad has devoted a tremendous amount of its military budget to growing its arsenal and procuring the associated delivery systems that are needed to launch them. More alarming than Pakistan's current stockpile is the projected growth of its arsenal over the next decade. In a wide-ranging report for the Council on Foreign Relations, Professor Gregory D. Koblenz of George Mason University assessed that Pakistan had enough highly enriched uranium to increase its stockpile to 200 nuclear weapons by 2020 if fully utilized. Percentage-wise, this would mean that the Pakistani army would be projected to increase its nuclear weapons arsenal by roughly 67% over the next 5 years. In other words, Pakistan could have as many nuclear weapons as the United Kingdom by 2020. Moreover, Pakistan falls outside the purview of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Recommended. Why no commander wants to take on a Spike missile? Recommended. What will the 6th-generation jet fighter look like? Recommended. Imagine a U.S. Air Force that never built the B-52 bomber to guarantee that they the ability to rapidly expand their stockpile. The Pakistani military is investing in reprocessing plutonium in addition to enriching uranium. In January 2015, the Institute for Science and International Security reported that the Pakistanis opened up their 4th plutonium facility at Kushab, which provides Islamabad with an additional channel to construct nuclear bomb material in a relatively short period of time. Its expansion appears to be part of an effort to increase the production of weapons-grade plutonium. The ISIS report, not to be confused with the terrorist group, reads: allowing Pakistan to build a larger number of miniaturized plutonium-based nuclear weapons that can complement its existing highly enriched uranium nuclear weapons. 2. Pakistani nukes a major U.S. intelligence priority. To say that the U.S. intelligence community is closely monitoring the development of Pakistan's nuclear weapons program would be an understatement. The U.S. government is doing more than just monitoring. They are actively preparing for a terrible catastrophe and engaging Pakistani officials in the hopes that they will stop pouring resources into the expansion of their program. The last thing Washington wants or needs is a nuclear crisis flashpoint in a dangerous and unpredictable region filled with an alphabet soup of Islamist terrorist groups. The U.S. government under both George W. Bush and Barack Obama has been trying to prevent such a crisis scenario from occurring.